What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Mental Groove. Yeah, it's been a minute. But we are back, locked in and ready for another Kevin Samuels classic. This one right here might shake the room. Let's get into it.
What's going on, Sugar P?
Hi,
You're in H-Town now, right?
I am in H-Town.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So where am I off at on this thing? Where am I wrong? What did I miss?
On women say should say yes more. I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, you know how I came in. I didn't start learning things till maybe I was like 26 when I started. And I was in the activism and the feminist movement. And then I just saw how, moving to DC and how that kind of lifestyle plays out for women and in the Black community. And I just, and
Yes.
I don't think, and unfortunately with our culture, I feel like with us women, we're far behind. Maybe Gen Z will probably get it quick. I'm a millennial. They'll probably, and I'm 27. Well, I'll be 27 in July. So they'll probably get it. They have way more access to this information now. But I feel like I took it upon myself to learn more at like 26. I don't expect a lot of women with the whole activism and thing that's really big right now to catch up till maybe late. But I hope they will catch up kind of early, and hopefully we learn how to strategize like women. I told my family that like white women,
Yeah.
they're all about strategy and they're very cutthroat
Yes.
about creating that legacy, and that's protecting themselves down the line. And I
So
don't,
so let me ask you. So you were in the DMV. I'm assuming everybody on here is in that area, or at least have been there. And what I know about the DMV area, it's a nexus for political power, but it's also a place to where I think that so many of our sisters can actually do exactly what you said. Get so busy with life, so busy with career, so busy with this, that they're missing that the fact that they're not their other female counterparts, they're coupling up, they're getting married, they're making strategic moves.
Mhm.
And like it or not, even as jacked up as the family court system, the environment, the Me Too, all this stuff, I still 80% of my clients, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, or other, still want to get married. But these men are trying to become power players and movers, and they understand that family is the key part to building a long time power structure, power base. Being a single individual actor out here, you just can't get a whole lot done. So when you say that white women move strategically, they go to college to get that MRS degree. They're going to try to attach names and work in long term. Can you speak to either that or the difference between how other folks look at long term dating and stuff versus this short term attraction hookup stuff? Pick either one of those and
Yeah.
go with it.
I would say especially my generation, and maybe it's not even my generation. There is just this serial monogamy, serial dating, casual dating thing going on. People are not being really strategic about their options. And maybe that could be both men and women, but I see that, with women speaking on behalf of women, I don't think we're very strategic. I have family members that tell me, oh, you shouldn't focus on those things. You should focus on yourself, your life and your job, staying. I had friends when I was dating in DC. My friends knew me. I would always go on dates. Oh, that's too much, And so I have a lot of friends that just stay in the house and they expect their
Were any of these
Mr. Right to
women
come.
married telling you that you should stop doing this stuff?
No. Or Jesus is their husband. So it just
Right.
goes like that.
Oh,
And so, and if
wow.
you see white women, and it's like, I'm not even trying to, and some people might be like, oh, that's being racist. It's just not white women. It's their culture. They're just
It's not
very
just white
strategic.
women.
You in DC, and even in college, they were getting married. A lot of the white people, women I knew, they get married really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They introduce their friend. They bring their single friends to stuff. When I moved here, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm going to start making friends with white women. I'm going to start having friends who are married and things like. It's putting yourself in those certain situations to literally change your mindset. And I think that's a lot of us are single. We're hanging out with these single friends
We're gonna
only,
change the name of
going
the
to
street.
girl nights and things like that.
Hey,
Only girl nights and going out only with your girls. And so, yeah, I feel like that casual short term dating thing, people are obsessed with the next best thing. And
hold on. I'm changing the name of the string just because Sugar P.
Right. Yeah.
Jesus is their husband?
Jesus is
Holy shit,
Hey, let me
man.
throw this in there real quick because I've done
Damn.
a lot of Asian weddings too. So you know what I'm saying? It's definitely not just white women. I'm like, dang. And I'm talking about there was a year, I think I did like 10 weddings or something at the same spot. They knew me because I was the only brother, the tallest brother doing these Asian weddings. But I mean, they were just consistent with it. Like they had a plan. They knew, hey, all right, after this, then this is what it is. Like
Let me say
window.
that. Let me say this, that you know, Jesus is their husband. That's a good one. But that's the point, being being strategic. And see, when it's funny when I was starting in corporate America, white women were starting to feel the pressure. If they was 25 and not married, they were talking about there was old maids. And black women in the office are like, what the hell are they talking about? But you flash forward 15 years, and these women still married. Most of them still married. Even the ones that are divorced, remarried. And these other women are still single, but they didn't have kids. And who's struggling? A lot of these women end up being married, but they leave corporate America and their husbands are the VP, but the sisters are still working maybe one level up. Let me answer a question in the chat room. Every time you hear a message, take the message. Stop trying to crucify the messenger. That's what it really comes down to. Take the message. Stop trying to crucify the messenger. And whether we like to admit it or not, Asian women tend to be the most, I won't say most sought after, but
they don't play.
they've learned that. I mean, but here's the thing: if you got white men going after Asian women, look, they don't have big old booties, big old boobs, big old anything. What are they really known for in a relationship scenario? Being more traditional, be more cooperative and submissive. Saying yes. I mean, I've often talked about my ex in New York. She was Korean and Japanese. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go into that right now. But I think it's crazy that what you're saying, a lot of the women in your family were telling you to stop saying yes, stop dating, stop putting yourself out there. And they can't tell you what to do, but they told you to stop doing. But were any of these women happy, Sugar P?
I don't think so. You know, I have friends like that, and they will also complain, oh, I don't have a boyfriend. And personally, I'm not aiming to be anyone's long-term girlfriend at my age. I think a lot of girls are also doing that, aiming to be somebody's girlfriend, and you're at an age where you should be aiming to be somebody's wife. And I also see a lot of women in long-term girlfriend situations wasting their time, and that's leading nowhere as well. And so you have that situation. Yeah, a lot of these women I don't think are really happy.
Well, there's another thing that hold on, DJ, and if I'll let you go with this one. The older you get, the quicker you should be saying yes. I mean, you don't need to be with somebody for 2 years to get married. 6 months or less. I mean, what the fuck? If you're 35 years old, talk about, I wouldn't get married in under 6 months. What do you need to be with them for 2 years? You should know enough to be able to, what you need to know about a person is their character, and get the baseline information and then commit. But see, what we don't want to do, DJ Neff, is they don't want to take that as being informed enough. And this is going to go into a show I do tomorrow about men not taking risks. We always are looking to minimize risk, thinking that there's a certain amount of information we need to get before we make a decision. And that's why we end up getting left behind, because we are not picking a course, we're dabbling. If you can know everything you need to know, run their credit report, run their background, if all that stuff you need to get, you can get that in under a week. You can find out all that paperwork in under 2 weeks. You can find out what you need to find out about this person and decide, you know what, I'm going to take Sugar P and we're going to do this and just see how it turns out. But that means that if I married her or if she married me, that means I'm saying no more to the dating market. And people honestly feel like that there's a better possibility out there. But what would happen if me and Sugar P were to be married 2 years from now? We'd be talking about a new little P or whatever. You got shit to be talking about. And you motherfuckers would still be talking about, I'm going to a new restaurant or this and that. Look up 5 years from now, and there's a third P and a house and a business. And you looking at, you could see the difference. Who's building and who's actually have something. So when this pandemic shit happened, you'd have me, P, and a couple of kids in the house hunkering down together, where your ass is out here trying to figure out who can Uber Eats can bring you something to eat because you buy your goddamn self.
Hey, this is getting personal now.
This is a scary time to be alone. I really feel that way, and you can see that. Like, this is a scary, and who knows how long this will go on. And people are not used to being alone either. So, I mean, and being in solitude.
She's 26 and frustrated and believing women today are falling behind, while Gen Z might understand Kevin's message better. She notices black women often prioritize independence over marriage, while seeing white women marrying earlier, even in college. She admits her family encouraged her to choose herself first, but now she wonders if that advice really works. Kevin points out that being busy and single isn't a strategy. Marriage is a priority for men of power, and dating should be intentional, not just for personal gain. White women, he notes, tend to cooperate and embrace traditional roles, which attracts commitment-minded men. She begins to realize that advice from unhappy women or feminism doesn't always serve women's long-term goals.
That's unfortunate.
So if I could ask real quickly, 2 questions I just thought about. The first one, with considering Sugar P's age, like, I guess, when did she come to that, or how did she come to that consensus? Like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't working. I don't want to be like them, would be the first question. And then, what was the second question, man? I was talking to one of my homeboys the other day, and we was talking about the marriage. Oh, why is it, I guess, easier for men, I'm not going to just say specifically black men, but for a man to have that type of laser-like focus when it comes to career and accomplishments, but he doesn't have that level of discernment when it comes to dating and relationships, if that makes sense. When it comes to picking and choosing the mates, based off of what you just said, Kev.
Well, I'll answer the second person, but go ahead, Sugar P.
What made me come to that conclusion? Okay, so for those that don't know, I kind of got in like this Sugar P for a reason. So I kind of got like into the sugar baby game, and it didn't last that long. While I was in DC, because I was like, okay, I'm getting a little older now, and I was tired of the game, I guess. But that's kind of how I got into it, and just exploring DC, getting accustomed to a new lifestyle, being able to put myself in certain situations and places to elevate my life and culture, and seeing different lifestyles. I think that's basically how it started. Also seeing how, like, feminism, like Kevin said, there are some good things that have come out of it, but there are also things that don't really help women. They're just not realistic for the times we live in. If we want to be real, it's not realistic, and it doesn't help us. It doesn't further us. And even, I think a lot of us might follow white women who are feminists, and they're doing the complete opposite. They might tell us, oh, black women, they might support us in that movement, but they're doing the complete
They damn sure
opposite.
voted for Trump.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, that's how I kind of saw it, as I got older. And I've been in relationships before. I had, a guy that wanted to get married. Now, I don't think that would have worked out, because he was not much, I don't know how to describe it, but I just got to a point where I did want to settle down. There was a point where I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to do any of that. I was I was really doing a lot of grassroots activism in the NAACP in the South, traveling a lot, doing feminist work. And then I got in the real world, and it's like, okay, this is all a lie. So that's kind of how I came to the conclusion. And I got into these spaces. I don't remember how I found. Oh, I remember how I got in touch with Kevin. It was on the Cole Show. It was about sugar babies, and that's how I found out about him.
let me go ahead and DJ Neff. Let me tell you how the question basically is, how do men decide to have a laser-like focus versus, and why women decide not to? Is that really
no. It was based on, like, when it comes to like our career and things that we can accomplish, we can have that laser-like focus. But when it comes to dating and relationships, it's kind of here's
the reason. One, raised by your mama, just like me.
Oh,
Raised by your mama. So structure, consistency, and discipline. See, working, we got to do that. And working is what men are. We are hardwired to work.
Okay.
We're not really our software for relationships is not male, it's female.
Gotcha.
See, our software for working is male, but even when we go to work, sometimes we act female in jobs. That's why we don't tend to move up into leadership, because we're female. I talk about my failures as an entry-level manager all the time because I was a blue pill beta male bitch. I was a straight bitch, and I had to go back and I had to get up under a man, become his number two, go through a complete code rewrite, and then come out as the new RoboCop. And then I was a completely different manager or leader, because then I had the male software with the male work ethic. But here's another reason why we don't have the laser-like focus in relationship. We don't understand how to use marriage and relationships to build power. It's about upping your numbers and scratching an itch, not saying, you know what, that chick over there is a 7, but that chick over there is a 5 or 5.5, but she comes from a good family, but she's a plain Jane, but her father is a partner at a law firm. I'm going to marry her and marry into that system, and I'm gonna get with those men as that woman. We don't do that. We just look and say, well, damn, I'd rather have a girl who's over on fries than the plain Jane 5 with the father who has the country club membership and all that other shit. Right. And see, we don't realize that non-black men make the same calculus, and they marry the 5, and the 5 realizes that she gets a husband who's actually really dealing with the men in her family. And if he decides to have a mistress or a woman on the side, his whole thing is you don't embarrass her, you don't embarrass the family, you keep your shit on the side, no outside babies, because you aren't just embarrassing your plain Jane wife, you're also embarrassing her husband, the law firm, and everything else. See what I mean? Yeah. We're out here in just the individual shit. And this is why I am 100% down with sugar babies and all other kind of shit, because they're going into it understanding what's up. You're a man, you got resources and means, I got this, and this. Let's make a deal. Right. Knock it out. As long as you know what the fuck you're getting up front, and I'm gonna tell you another thing. I know white women who have gone from stripping, escorts, hoeing, or sugar babies to being straight up suburban housewives, driving around in a Range Rover with a ring so big their hand is like this. It's not an after hour show, but I'll tell the story again one day about a woman I know personally who married a guy who was loaded, and she was a big time escort, and the dude knew it. But they made a deal. And she know what she did? She played her wifely role well. And once she decided to cross, she never looked back at that life. She never decided to go back and scratch that old itch, because she had too much to lose. See, you guys in the DMV, you guys are around a lot of political power.
Yes, you could feel it too.
But how do those political people move? How many middle managers, upper management, how many executives do you see who are single? A single unmarried male is looked at as a threat to those other guys. They don't want you around their wives.
Okay.
That's why they don't promote you guys. That's why single men don't get promoted. Like it or not, I did an entire show about this. And in the red pill sector, guys are like, oh man, that's messed up. I'm like, well, it's the difference between being an individual worker and trying to go up and build something. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, I remember how we met now, P. Okay, let me go. Let me answer this question. Sugar babies are whores as well. They just feel better about calling sugar babies. Let me tell you something, J.I. Oftentimes you guys feel good about calling women out and trying to insult them. What does it do calling them a whore? You're a whore too. If that's the case, you go to work and somebody pays you to perform a service. See, a lot of you guys get off on your fucking high horse trying to wave your finger at women, and honestly, you're pissed because, anyway, check that shit, man. Check that shit. Over here, we're grown goddamn men having a conversation. If you can't, if that's gonna be your one warning. If you're gonna be talking that crazy this time, I'm gonna block you off my channel. Because that's I don't know what your problem is, but you can't have it over here. Because let me also talk about this. I made a video on my channel talking about how to crush the holiday party. And I told guys, go to the holiday party. The worst thing you can do is go alone. You better call your friend and have her say yes. And the worst, go in and hire a high-end escort and take her to the party. Dudes thought I was crazy until I had some guys come in and say, you know what? I've done that before because I did it. And I told a story about how I was in the executive washroom and the VP of marketing was saying, you know, hey, I know Diana, she's a great woman. Next thing you know, I started getting assignments and accounts and things I normally never got. And I had, about a month later, I had someone, this guy wants you to come up to his office and for a quick 15-minute meeting. This is a VP of marketing and I'm a rep. But just because I hired this woman who was his regular, turns out he had started looking at my background, looking at me. He had people around the office watching me. But he was curious as to know is why my guy up here, but I got this guy down here hiring this woman to come to this executive function. That guy became my fast track at this company. I skipped so many levels and got so many benefits by having an inside person, and we were tied together by a whore.
Hey, I don't want to, like you said, this ain't an after hours stream, but we really could have used you on the stream the other night. We were kind of dabbling on the underworld a little bit, and I just leave it like that. But yeah. Well, especially out here.
Hold on. Go ahead, Neff.
No. I was just saying, especially out here, like you learn. I've been invited to some parties at some mansions and stuff, and it's just a different way to connect, I guess. And there's certain things that,
man, if in DC, the escort business will be one of the best ways to network with men of power.
Right.
I mean, I did it in Dallas. I mean, I probably need to. So we do this show at a different time.
Right.
To understand something. Concubines were back in the day were a respected position. Mm-hmm. Women would try, they're like, well, you know what? Would you rather be a concubine to Kublai Khan? Would you rather be a concubine in the court, or would you rather be out there in the rice fields? Powerful men are always surrounded by beautiful women. Why? Beautiful women manage their ego and emotions. Yeah. We are their competition. So let's say you and I went into one of these smoke-filled rooms. They'd see two black men coming in onto K Street with lobbyists and stuff. They'd be looking at us like, all right, what's this guy's angle? Who are they? Are they opposition research? Are they this, they that? But let's say both of us walk in with, when I say well-known escorts, I don't mean they're known in the public, but I mean the people who know. Gotcha. And you walk in with Brenda of DC, and I walk in with Carrie of Georgetown. They're like, well, those two guys are walking in with two people that we know that in order to be with these women, you have to have a certain amount of money because they do a certain amount of screening and background checks. So they have been vetted. So you know what, DJ Neff, all of a sudden we would be looked at as being in the club.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And they would be coming, hey, hi, my name is Brad. Hey, my name is David, the one to meet you. And next thing you know, you don't even know these people. They're like, yeah, but you've been vetted.
Right.
Because these guys are no smarter than we are. They're no better than we are. They just have opportunities that we don't have. That's why you see CEOs. They're not 1,000 times smarter than the lowest worker. Anyway, I don't want to get too far.
I know, man. and I'm a government contractor out here now. After I got the service, that's what I've been doing. And I stayed here because I'm in the middle between my family up north and a little bit south, but that's the same thing I see. A lot of the people that are in charge, they're not necessarily smarter, but they're connected. They know different people, and they've been vetted.
Well, let me tell you something else. When I talk about taking a risk, what does it tell you about a man who is a major account manager, basically a senior level sales rep, who will come to a company Christmas party with hundreds of people, and he had to pay an escort $750 to attend the event with him? What does that tell you about this man's level of risk? What is he willing to do? He's willing to do whatever it takes. He's willing to actually, he's not just going to try to go and go this way. There's no way in hell I would have been able to even talk to the VP of marketing, much less have a meeting with him. I wouldn't even been noticed.
Right.
Men respect men who are willing to put themselves out there, to assert, to confidently assert, to play in the gray areas. Powerful men understand they are pragmatic, ruthless, and amoral. You don't, well, I wouldn't hire that woman. That's an escort. She's a whore and this and that. Man, fuck that. She is gorgeous and she is going to get me attention. And once I get the shot, can I do anything with the shot? Now, let's imagine that chance meeting had never happened. Right. That person had just saw me and they had looked around and he had invited me up to talk to him. If I could not comport myself in a way that would make him want to take a risk on me or pull me into a circle, it would have just been a meeting. And therein lies the difference. What can you do when you wedge yourself in the door? What can you do when you get your shot, your one at bat? That's why I'm telling these ladies, say yes. Say yes to give yourself an opportunity to put yourself on. That's all saying yes does. It gives you an opportunity. And Jesus is their husband is going to be the next stream Sugar P.
So it's to your point. They always think that another opportunity is coming. I think that's what it is. They always like, well, I can skip this one because I know it's going to slide in my DMs.
A lot of young people, especially my generation and younger, I think they're obsessed with like the grass is greener, especially with, these the dating culture. I don't know what it is these days is. And yeah, there'll always be somebody better. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that they don't have the level of investment that person has.
What makes them better, though, I guess is the question.
Different.
Yeah.
They're different. Okay. Because, I mean, as somebody, I've never been with a woman I consider not to be an 8 or better. But there's always going to be somebody better looking, better something. It's always, and conversely, the same thing. But in the scenario I just gave down with Sugar P, you gotta weigh always changing your partner or changing your situation. You're starting and stopping versus staying in one place and building something. And see, that's one thing that I don't think that when we're single individuals, we value our freedom. We value our ability to choose, but we don't want to decide. Because once we decide, we feel like we have no options. Why? Because what is relationship? What is marriage to a lot of people? The death of freedom. But what else is it when on the other side? That's never been discussed or glamorized. So what I ultimately say to ladies is you're going to have to make a choice. Men, you're going to have to make a choice because what we're seeing right now is all these options. What are they worth right now when you're sheltering in place by yourself?
Right.
Not a whole lot.
I have a question, Kevin. I'm sorry.
No, just real quick. So is this choice, is it logical or is it an emotional choice?
Well, which?
As far as, making your selection and settling down, like, do you think it needs to be a logically based choice?
Yes.
Or is it?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I grew up with female software. I grew up with female software, and that's why I chose my ex-wives emotionally. And they were poor choices.
Got you. That's where we okay.
I said after my divorce, I was like, the next time if I will make a decision completely different. And one of the first things I said, she has to, bottom line, sounds crazy now. She has to just be nice.
That's where I'm at.
I mean, she's got to be nice to me to begin with. So I'm like, God damn, that's how far off I was. And see, what do you get when you make an emotional decision? You get a chaotic outcome. What do you get when you make a logical decision? You get a more stable outcome. What's up, Sugar P? You had a question.
So my question is for women that are dating, and let's say they run into men that can't make a decision. How do you think the woman should deal with that?
If you're with a man who can't make a decision, leave that man.
Yo, what if he's 22 years old? Like, you can't be expecting.
Okay, I'll answer the question. I don't think you should be getting with a woman till at least you're 30.
Oh, okay.
22 is not 22. We're not in an agrarian age where we could be farmers and shit. In 22, you didn't need to learn anything. Like it or not, in order to make a man, modern man, you need to. You talk to any man over 40, and he'll tell you 40 is where it really starts. You're
I
creeping
agree.
in on it.
Yeah. I feel
So
it.
women should be dating
You need to be dating
30 and up, all women, depending on their
Like
age.
thirty-five.
No
was
men in
talking
their
if
20s.
I was talking to a man, I would say you start thinking about a relationship at 30. I would say between 30 and 35, depending on the maturity of the man. I would tell average guy to be closer to 35. And you need to be looking at women from the age of 21 to 24. So there needs to
Someone
be a
said be
10-year
patient.
gap, in my opinion. So here's the thing. So what am I telling guys between 21 and 30? What they're hearing is basically, well, I can't have no woman. No, because you're putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You're
You're
trying to
supposed to
find
be
yourself,
built.
get on your purpose, build yourself. And the net of it is your outcomes. Honestly, DJ Neff, you weren't going to get married or pick a woman before that anyway. Now you just see the beauty of making a choice. It's like an image consultant. One of the things I do with a person is I tell them what of the 9 style personalities, which one resonates with them the most. The beauty in that is they know when they're going to get a pair of boots or a suit or this or that, they know what works for them. That means they don't even have to look at the rest of them. It simplifies the world so much to where you can focus. You know, as a man, when you are focused, you are productive. But when you got a ton of options, you are overwhelmed.
That's true.
That is the ability. If you tell a guy between 21 and 30, brother, you're going to have to focus. You're going to have to eat it. You're going to have to work 60 to 80 hours, whether you're in your career or not, whatever. You got to find yourself, your purpose, stack some sources and resources. But at 30, you can start looking to vet, but now you got something to protect. Now you got something to offer. Now you got you can pick a different kind of woman because you got something that women typically want, not just your looks and this and that. You got something, and you're going to make a different choice based upon your hard work. You're going to protect it more because you're going to make a better decision because like, well, it took me a long time to get this. I'm not going to be as risky with that.
Right.
So yeah, and that's what I would tell the average guy. So I don't put that much pressure on a 22-year-old guy other than tell him you're far too young to be thinking about marriage.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Mhm.
I mean, personally, that's my
Yeah,
opinion
22, that's way too young
well, I mean,
for a guy.
I mean, you listen to many of the dating coaches and relationship people who do this for a living. I mean, Tom Likas was well known at telling guys, you're too young for that.
Yeah.
But I remember
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was saying because even when I got back, I think I started dating someone my age that I had a history with, and I'm just like, this ain't where it's at. But because I had history, I revisited it. But I'm just like you said.
Well, it is. Think about it, DJ Neff. You're in your late 30s. It is far easier for you to sit down with a 25-year-old female and her put you in, and you actually be able to guide her, lead. You're automatically in the position where she doesn't look at you as a peer.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was gonna be my next thing. I didn't want to just jump
Yeah.
off as far as like that distance, because I have looked at that. Like, okay, but that intellectual, like I like to have conversations and I'm not saying that you can't, but everybody's not going to be a Britney where she's mature.
She's not supposed to be, bro.
She's not going to be on the phone every 5 minutes when we out at what I'm saying, a Roof Chris or Fago or something,
Yeah.
That's
you want to have deep philosophical conversations and building. That's what your boys are for. That's not what your woman's for. You doesn't have to be an airhead.
Yeah.
Bro. Let a cat be a cat and let a dog be a dog. You don't try to walk a cat.
Right.
That woman, she needs to be on your program and your plan. See, we're trying to make, and again, we're trying to make her my mama because mama was able to do everything. And the thing is, my mother was strong, independent, Afro out, feminist, liberated, and she married the most diametrically opposed country Bama, but that man was solid, rock of the earth, and for the last 25 years she has been happier than I ever seen her in my entire life. I never would have imagined my mother would have picked the guy she did, but she picked the man based upon the character. And they are completely opposite. But I am not worried the least bit about my mother during this time because she is in a house in a nice neighborhood. I know the man. Yeah. My mother is taken care of. God couldn't have gave my mother a better. And every time she complains about him, I tell her, divorce him then. She ain't gonna do that because she knows she made a good decision.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you want to be able to talk to your woman, yeah, but about what?
That's fair.
About your plans? You need to be informing your woman. You need to be able to discuss it. She should be a good counselor. Honestly, I think let's say a sugar pea. A sugar pea with me would be something like, here are the plans. And then we go into the networking room and sugar pea would go work the room. And she would actually work the room and help me with men who normally would look at me as competition and look at me differently and say, you know what? Any man who could pick a woman like that's a man I need to work with.
Facts.
That's where you let her do her thing where she's good. You don't sit here and say, well, what kind of piping are we going to lay on this job? What kind of bricks? Or what are going to, that ain't her job. Her job is the social shit. Your job is the planning shit.
In 35 years making 90K NGA, my girlfriend is 26 years. She's having my first child.
There you go. So, I mean, it's kind of like any good scenario. See, one of the things that made difference for me is I stopped shirking the responsibility of being a man, the masculine burden of performance. When I firmly put that on myself and said, even in my marriages that failed, ultimately the burden of performance was on me. I got soft and weak in places I shouldn't have. And I did not know. There were none of these spaces, but after doing that, I was like, okay, I realized that I shouldn't. Okay, all right. I'll never take my eye off the ball again. I'm going to continue to run. See, the thing is, DJ, if you're running, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. As men, if we're doing and building what we're supposed to be doing and working what we're supposed to be doing, the women will come along and get in their spot and nest, and they'll do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And we let them nest over there, and we go over here and kill the mastodon or the deer or whatever the fuck. And then when we sit around and do what we do, when we sit around and talk to our women, we talk to women. But most of the time you're spending with the men. Yeah. Men and women used to split up and go into different rooms after meals. The men would go into by the fire and smoke a cigar and drink beer or scotch or bourbon or whatever. And the women would go in the kitchen or whatever and do what they do. I ain't trying to make my woman be my homie. That ain't her job.
Right. Hey, so and that goes to something you had said earlier, the reason why, well, a question I had brought up earlier in regards to being able to make those decisions. Because like you said, they definitely nesting. They be flocking around even before this. But like that decision is so important. And, I have a 16-year-old son, right? Like I said, I was in the military. I was never married, but that happened early on, right, in my career. Right. And then I have a lot of brothers that have retired from the military. They also have children. So part of that, there's a reservation there too. Like, I don't want to put myself in a position to where now I have even more assets and more things to lose if I make a bad decision, and this kind of ties into the whole conversation with the manosphere, how you could lose certain things. Not saying that, family.
Okay. So name me the millionaires or billionaires who got far more than we ever do, and they still get married. Where's Jeff Bezos now? He's going to get remarried. They get remarried and they got more. The question is picking well.
Right. That's the whole thing.
And the picking well. So there are lots of different methods, but I'll ask you this. Who's helping you vet besides yourself? Do you have any men that you have respect for? Do you have your gauntlet? I got 5 people around me that I trust their judgment enough to substitute their judgment for my own. Let me say that again. I got 5 men around me that I trust and respect enough to substitute their judgment for mine. It took me a long time to get to a place to where I can say that. But if you don't have somebody who can actually pull you back and say, nah, bro, this is how I see it. Right. And if they can tell you, and if you choose not to operate on it, do you have anybody that you respect enough that you say, if he sees something that I don't see, I'm going to just decide on it? That's hard for a lot of us. Again, we was raised by mama.
Yeah. But if you have people, is fat though. I said they'll tell you if that ass is fat though.
But see, the thing is, if you have people or men around you who can look at the woman you're talking about, and if they comes back with a consensus that she's a good pick, because those guys aren't sleeping with her. Right. They're going to look at her in different ways. They're going to look at her character, her background. Who are the guys around you? Because our best thinking is what gets us in our situations. This is why I'm so big on coaches and consultants and people around you, because we cannot be professionals at everything. Your emotions are going to be attached to this woman. Her yoni is going to done what, especially if you're sexually involved with her, you're going to be biased. And lastly, what are the expectations? You're only going to get about 80% out of anybody. Nobody has to be perfect. Does this woman have the character to be able to handle everything that you've built? And is she going to have enough respect for you to make a decision that's based for you and the family and not her? These things, that goes to her character. See, this is what churches and religions and all that other stuff used to do for us. They used to give us things that were where the individual wasn't at the height. So give you a case in point. If you find a woman and she's not coming from a nuclear family, she has no real religion or anything, if there's nothing that she's really submitting to, how's she gonna submit to you?
That's facts. Oh, that's deep. Yeah.
And therein lies the problem. And if it comes back that she's not, or if she's playing Christian like somebody used to teach at singles ministry, there are a lot of women who are in church who really aren't following it. You see how they move. And let me tell you, last thing, I did a video, a question, a show one time, and I asked, what are you willing to give up? Give up. I said, what are you willing to give up to get what you want, ladies? And here's the things I asked, DJ Neff. Yeah. Are you willing to move far away from your friends and family and everything else? Are you willing to move with your husband to where it's just you and him geographically? Are you willing to give up all your male friends and all that stuff? Cut all that stuff off because y'all got to build a life together. Are you willing to drop all your social media? And unless you are in a position or running a social media marketing firm, why you need Facebook and all those other things? Are you willing to change religions? Are you willing to go from Christianity to Islam? Because she has to follow your religion. But are you willing to give, if you have children, are you willing to let him discipline your children like his biological children? Because he's going to be responsible for them no matter what. Are you willing to actually send your children to be with their father? Especially the boys after age 7, because he is their parent. And this is when it starts to get real tight. And then money. Are you willing to, if you are working, are you willing to make sure that all the money goes into an account? Your check goes into an account with just his name on it. You are an emergency contact, but you don't have any check writing authority. He's managing the money completely. And that that money thing stopped a lot of women.
Of course it did.
Well, and I've had this conversation here locally. I had women here locally say they would not give a $20,000 purse over to their husband or their boyfriend or whatever, but they would marry a man, they would have his babies or whatever, but you can't have that purse. I'm like, why? Because it's expensive. And see, money tends to tell where people's hearts are. Right. And if you are dealing with a woman who actually, if you're dealing with a person, I want to just put it, but we're talking about women. If you're dealing with a woman who ultimately says you cannot have complete financial control, that means there's a fear there. If he has all of it, then I'm vulnerable. Then why are you going to make a baby with this person? Because you can have the power over her life and death. You could pull the plug on her. She's involved in a car accident. They could say, Mr. Neff, well, do you want us to take life support away? You'd have those powers. So you can have that, but you can't have the money. That don't make no goddamn sense, now does it?
No, not at all.
All right, guys, I got to get up off here. I got to eat something. But I think this is a good show. Thank you, Sugar P, for the quote of the night.
Thank you.
Jesus is their husband. Lord have mercy. Jesus is their husband. Sugar P came through swinging the fences. Ladies, at the end of the day, understand something. Say yes. Say yes, because ultimately you're not saying yes to the men. You're saying yes to your life. You're saying yes to opportunity. You're saying yes to so many things. And saying no has got you where you are. Logic would say saying yes can actually help you be in a better place.